Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Meta Talks by MetaGate Summit, a three-day hybrid summit set to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia from 10 to 12 September, in association partnership with the great World Metaverse Council, the VRAR Association, Metaverse Fashion Council, Oman Information Technology Society, and a lot of other partners. This event is aimed to bridge the gap between the real world applications of the metaverse, as well as with the day-to-day operations and the technology, bringing together an experience from which users and visitors can gain a full-fledged perspective as to how the metaverse will impact their lives in the years to come. Now, MetaTalks is a pre-event platform, as you may know, that is aimed at educating our communities on the future of the metaverse. And every few weeks, we host a honorable guest from somewhere around the world. And today's guest is very special because he is one of our partners. Welcome, Tadej, to the stage.
Hello, I'm really happy to be with you.
Tadej is the founder and CEO of the World Metaverse Council, for those who don't know. He's also the CEO at HashNET Slovenia, CEO and founder of Cotrugli Business School Slovenia, chairman of organizing committee of the European Blockchain Week, former state secretary in the cabinet office of the Prime Minister and former member of Parliament of the Republic of Slovenia. He has established himself over the past years as an expert in the space of digital transformation and tech transformation. And I would love it if you, Tadej, could go ahead and give us a more wide introduction about yourself, because I don't think any introduction that we do could give you the value that you have created.
Well, thank you a lot. I usually say that basically I'm a social entrepreneur. From my youth on, I was engaging in various activities, bringing the positive social impact to our society. And of course, through the years, I was engaging a lot on the field also of the fighting climate change, preparing the way how our economies will go from the linear into the circular economies. And of course, we try to find the answers also in the new technologies who are actually really strong enablers. So more than 10 years ago, I started to discover blockchain technologies. In that time, I was working for Slovenian government as a state secretary. I was responsible for the green transition of Republic of Slovenia, but also I was quite engaged in collaboration with Slovenian, but also European and global companies who were already then front runners delivering such solutions. Through the years, of course, with the metaverse appearing and approaching, of course, we try to understand how metaverse and, of course, XR technologies could be tools for basically achieving global sustainable development goals. So I think it was 2 years ago when we organized one global conference. We called it World Futureverse Conference, held in Bled in Slovenia. We initiated the initiative that on the field of metaverse, actually, what is really crucial is to bring together various stakeholders, from the companies to the experts, to the policy makers, to representatives of industry, education, in a global collaboration platform that we call now World Metaverse Council. We set up the organization already 2 years ago, as I mentioned, and now more than 2 years we are globally active. I am a CEO here, but as you mentioned, I'm also working on the field of blockchain technologies and some other solutions, actually mainly focusing fighting climate change and delivering global sustainable development goals.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much Tadej, we are very happy to have you. Now, to kick things off, you mentioned that you work on a day-to-day basis with immersive technologies and XR. And immersive technologies have the potential to revolutionize the way we do our day-to-day activities. In fact, these technologies have been slowly influencing our lives in some way or another for more than a decade now. Think Snapchat filters, Pokemon Go, simulated trainings, and more. XR in all its forms and with all its applications has been part of our lives in the most subtle ways. But now as we move into the digital era and with noticeable attention, these technologies are getting, we have no choice but to think to ourselves, what's next? And with all the experience that you have, and with everything that was mentioned before, how do you think that XR will revolutionize our day-to-day operations as individuals and businesses?
Well, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I would definitely start with changing first how we educate ourselves. Or also our children, how we educate in our businesses, how we are actually are able to learn much better, much faster, and much more impactful. Here, I believe it's first the most important power of XR technologies. And here, just giving you an example, we are running now for 2 years already a European-wise project we call Think XR, where we are actually implementing the XR technologies into the primary, secondary, and university studies. And what we see is that through the potentials and through the ability of XR technologies, giving immersive learning experience to the students, actually the results of understanding and results of the education are much better. That means that, of course, we as citizens, we will be able to know, to understand more, to do more. And second step, of course, you mentioned it, is how we will, of course, this implement into our daily lives. Starting with interacting to each other, starting to implementing this solution in our businesses, in our companies. And here I see, of course, a second most important impactful, let's say, opportunity. It's how we will be able, of course, move and to use the XR technologies in our businesses, starting from education for how delivering some tasks, realizing some tasks, helping with the XR tools and XR technologies, and also selling. It was actually using XR solutions for marketing, for sales, one of the first front-running activities in the everyday businesses. And here I think I see really huge potentials. Now, as we know, XR technologies are one of the key pillars of Metaverse. Here, of course, with Metaverse, we are going even deeper because we use XR technologies and we combine them with some others, like Web3, like blockchain already mentioned, like IoT devices in real life. And actually, we are starting to merge our physical world with the digital worlds. And here the really exciting future is ahead of us. In Europe, as you probably know, we already in July last year adopted European-wise strategy on Web 4.0 and digital worlds, where we see in next 7 to 10 years really a huge and impactful development, where, of course, a lot of opportunity are for the future of work, for the future of business, and of course for the most important challenges that we all are facing, already mentioned, climate change and sustainable development.
Beautiful. Those were indeed some wonderful insights. And I would like to second on the topic of education. I mean, in human nature, as humans, we tend to learn better by experience. And with what XR and its sub-technologies aim to create, it's not only more accessible in terms of the level of education is going to be the same across the globe, right? It's also a lot easier and more hands-on to learn, and it's a lot more fun. The same experience, the same, for example, let's say we're talking about biology here. We're looking into the molecules and how they pass through and the development, let's say, of the molecules and all of that. You're getting to see that hands-on, right, from anywhere around the globe. And it doesn't really matter where you come from, what your background is, what your cultural knowledge is, or all of that. It's just an equal world. And that is one of the other beauties of XR, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Here I agree. Still, we have some challenges with adoption of the VR headsets, for example. Also, the ability that globally citizens will be able to purchase, to own their VR headsets. Of course, here we are waiting that the prices will go also down. But yeah, I agree with you. And often I give a comparison that with reading, for example, what we read and how we learn out of reading, we learn some 10% of what we read. With doing in real life, making real experience, having the real opportunity to learn while you are experimenting, we are getting 90%. And as you mentioned, in virtual reality, we can actually learn by doing, and this is the concrete result and impact actually of this kind of education that we are enabling to learn much more impactful, and of course it's much more fun. I have a concrete story from one of our educational programs that we have for secondary schooler mentors. We learn and we teach them how to use XR platforms to prepare the content for concretely. It was one biology teacher, and when he learned the basics of Unity, and when he was able to set up the three-dimensional molecules, and he was showing this on the end of the educational course, actually, my reaction was, because I was remembering what we learned some 30 years ago in our classes, primary and secondary school, trying to understand molecular by writing and rewriting its two-dimensional shape. I actually react all my life I was wrong, because I learned in the completely different perception what actually now I see. And yes, this is actually what XR technologies are bringing to all of us.
Definitely. That is a beautiful take. And I mean, looping back to the talk about equality and how everyone can have access to it and all of that, yes, that takes a lot of time. And setting the framework for that to happen is definitely very important. And with that being said, the role of associations and councils is absolutely undeniable in the growth of new technology and fostering culture of innovation, and also creating the equality that we're talking about, as well as connecting companies with governmental entities and whatnot. What are some of the ways that the World Metaverse Council is helping create a much-needed bridge between stakeholders of the spatial era?
Well, I will mention a few that I believe that they are most crucial and most important. The first one, definitely, already from the foundation times of the council, was that we believe that that metaverse should be open, that metaverse should be inclusive, and the only way to achieve this is to make a needed collaboration between the companies and the experts who will build it in the way that not just a few influential companies globally will have the most influential metaverses, but that many of companies, many of initiatives will be able to create them and of course connect them and build a kind of three-dimensional internet, the internet that will give opportunities to small, medium, but also of course huge companies, organizations. And here we are advocating this. We openly, of course, support all the important development done by the front-running companies, also mentioning Meta, for example, but we believe that each nation, each culture have their own also potentials, their own companies who can benefit out of this, who can, of course, bring the culture, the knowledge, the potentials inside. And here, now for more than 1.5 years, the most important collaboration is being implemented by various companies who are trying to breach the various metaverses that they have. They are seriously working on technical solutions, also how to make interoperable connections between various metaverses. This actually is the answer how we will make the metaverse interoperable, how we will connect it. So we will enable end users to go from one metaverse directly with its avatar, also digital assets to another. This is number one. And number two is the education. We know that we have already a lot of enthusiasts. We have a lot of experts, also companies who are already aware of the potentials, but if you look to the all over population, we are not at 2-3% at all. So to educate, to open the first experience with the also policymakers, with the company leaders, with the educators. This is the most important role of World Metaverse Council. So a lot of our members, I have to mention, we have members in more than 80 countries globally. This is what they are working on. So they are bringing this first user experience to various representatives, various stakeholders. Then, of course, second level is to educate how could you as a company, as an educational organization, start to implement such activities, how you could benefit out of it. And third, and of course, really important part, then of course, how this should then be standardized and how this should be put into some policy measures, where of course I have to make it clear that here with direct engagement of World Metaverse Council in some standardization activities. This is not the case. We have many of our distinguished members who are actively working in ISO and other organizations. But here, as I mentioned, what we are trying to be is to be a bridge among the stakeholders and to be a bridge between the world that we are living now, that we are starting to adopt the VR and metaverse, and the world that it's in front of us. So we are trying to help as many globally to find out a little bit more about it and to find the meaning of its usage in everyday life, in business, in education.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for your insights, and also big kudos for the value that you guys have been creating, and for being one of the real associations out there that are doing the work that they promise to do, and creating all of those bridges. Now, on to a more controversial topic here, and that is the DAOs, decentralized. Believe they are friction-filled structure that cannot guarantee qualitative decisions, and other people want to implement them at scale. what are your thoughts on DAOs overall, and where do they work, where do they not, as per your expertise?
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm a great supporter of DAOs, and I have reason for that because for more than 20 years, I am engaged in the cooperative movement. Cooperatives, as a special type of businesses, are actually the, let's say, front runners of what DAOs are able to become, or they are actually becoming. With the concept of cooperatives, where one member, one vote, collaboration to achieve common economic goals and to collaborate in achieving particular business activities, but also some other is actually being implemented with more than 200 years of history. But like everything else with new technologies, we also have the tools like now DAOs, where the collaboration in such a types of businesses could be empowered actually with the digital solutions. And this is what I believe DAOs are. Of course, with all the technologies, first we have adoption challenges, then we can, as always, use technologies for positive, but also for negative results. But this is like with all other solutions that we are faced. So I believe that DAOs are a really good tool. That of course they are controversial because the legislators, mainly globally, are not even aware that they are existing. Few countries started to understand, started also with the regulation. And of course, after this process, it will be much clearer and it will be much, let's say, safer and also focused-oriented usage of DAOs. But in the meantime, I think we should be positive regarding to DAO implementation. We should learn out of good and bad examples. And of course, we should concentrate more again how we will utilize them for achieving positive in our everyday life. And of course, I could say that some kind of organization of ourselves in the digital world that we call metaverse, it will be impossible with the solutions like DAO. So with the World Metaverse Council from the start on, I have to mention we are seriously preparing DAO for also governance, but also some concrete projects that World Metaverse Council members and also stakeholders will do on one side. I have to also mention that also World Metaverse Council, after some first few months when it was, let's say, just a network, we organized ourselves as a cooperative. And now we are kind of making the bridge between this legal structure and the DAO as a tool. Of course, trying to understand and trying to implement and giving the power to the not just members, but also the users of the metaverse, that they will be able to interact also with the help of DAOs.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for that, and we really look forward to the role that the World Metaverse Council will have with MetaGate Summit, and we would like to take the time to thank you and tell you how much we appreciate your presence with us as partners and as definitely as an advisor yourself to MetaGate, and we would like to tell the guests a little bit more about the involvement of the World Metaverse Council with MetaGate for this year's summit. Also, perhaps what you expect for this year's event and for the years to come.
Well, I would also like to express our big excitement and honor to collaborate with MetaGate Summit this year. Why? Because we believe that the goals that organizers have are in line with the activities and the goals of World Metaverse Council. We, of course, as a global network, will try to bring one of the best experts that we have among our members. We will try to bring our huge community to participate physically. We will also engage and help to support the metaverse version of the hybrid event. But also we will bring concrete equipment and support to test not just VR headset, but to test the development of metaverses, VR solutions. And I'm really looking forward to do all these activities together with you. And of course, this will be, I have to mention, some few months before World Metaverse Council will announce the World Metaverse Awards winners for 2024. I will not disclose all the activities that we prepare with MetaGate, but definitely we will try to bring some last and important informations and activities regarding this year's edition of World Metaverse Awards that we will, of course, conclude with our yearly event in December.
Thank you so much, Tadej. It is with partners like the World Metaverse Council and our other valued partners that events like MetaGate gain that extra dimension of value. We cannot wait to have you, the World Metaverse Council, and all of the stakeholders involved at MetaGate Summit, and we really cannot wait for this event to happen. Thank you so much for your time and valuable insights, and we look forward to having you on other episodes and to perhaps being on panels belonging to the World Metaverse Council. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Go ahead and give us a follow on social media, and this episode should be out on YouTube. So thank you so much for your time. And,
thank you, and see you in Riyadh. Bye.
Bye-bye.